actually really happy for them, and I hope they make the most of it. Make sure they get some of that cash, and do something for your future. So it's good for them.
Well, you do mention that chunk of change, that cash on the line. I think it's very important to remind our viewers exactly what the stakes are here for these two teams. First place will be taking home $25,000 in scholarship money there. Second place, no slouch behind with $15,000. So just on merit of being here alone, this is a lot towards these young Quake All-Stars futures in their education.
And speaking of young Quake All-Stars futures, these could be some of the players of the future, right? These guys definitely have the skills, definitely have what it takes in order to make it in the future. You know, Chain himself, he's been playing in the, massive tournaments. He's been in, the 2v2 Open. He's been in the eliminations. He's been in everything. And he's doing well in all of them.
I mean, we just saw him, what was the round of 8 that he got taken out here
absolutely.
This time? So that was a close one. It was against, I want to say, the Maestro UKSA team.
Maestro UKSA was the one that knocked them out, yes.
So, I mean, really fresh off of that, going to be warm, ready to roll. Well, before we do get into the game, ladies and gentlemen, we do need to inform you of a couple quick formatting changes. If you've been watching the stream all day, if you've been live here in the audience, you've been used to some things that are not going to be making it into the CSL tournament, and those, of course, are map bans and champion bans. Will not be gracing us this time here around. Instead, we will start with the neutral map, Ruins of Sarnath. And then from that point on, it does go to the loser's pick. So the loser of that game does decide the next map. There are 6 maps in our pool. It's a little smaller. Those are, for your edification, Awoken, Blood Covenant, Blood Run, Corrupted Keep, Ruins of Sarnath, and Vale of Nath. So excited to see that all play. But with that in mind, I think we're ready to get over towards the first game pretty soon.
What are you guys thinking? Who's going to win?
That's a hard one to pop on us, this early. But I think it's going to be certainly an uphill battle. Carleton, a little bit of an edge, but I'm hoping to see a very exciting 5-game series, maybe a 3-2.
So with that, we are ready to get into the first match. This is, of course, the Ruins of Sarnath, and you talk about some of these players. One thing I really want to focus on is, of course, that with Pithy and Nubkey, these two are a little bit closer there in skill level than the massive disparity that we do have between Chain and Burnton. So interested to see these two secondary players, Burnton and Nubkey, how they're going to stack up against one another.
Yeah, and we already have them into the map and into our first of this best of 5. Of course, the heavies, the megas, all picked up relatively quickly. App State looking down onto Carleton, trying to find these rockets, but so far not giving any purchase. Both of these teams have been warming up all day long, so they are completely ready to try and challenge for this first power-up in just a short moment. As Pithy, he's going to go with the double lightning guns, does not find a single kill though, and even though he's psyched up, he cannot get purchase on them.
Gotta think that there's a little bit of those nerves coming into play at this point with such a slow start. 60 seconds down on the clock now. Not a single frag has yet to come out. And with that, it seems to be defensive play. Pithy and Nubkey are making the rotations to hold an area and get the setup, and they're not really trying to push the setup in any capacity on the side of Carleton.
Yeah, and then they set up around the red. They, are able to secure that relatively safely. Even though they're chunking out damage, they can't actually get a single kill. Maybe this will be the first one. Pithy just misses out on that as he takes the elevator up to the top level. Now they have to challenge Carleton on an unequal height advantage. That is not where they want to be, especially when not a single kill has gone either way. Minute and 35 seconds in, we're still looking for our first frag.
Yeah, and Appalachian State is a team that does like to play very slowly, play very defensively, but this is taking it to a new level. Almost 2 minutes on the clock with no blood being drawn yet. They're just retreating, just conceding their ground as Carleton does look to find the initial push in, but this may just be it, as it is Pithy getting the first one onto Chain. Burnton answers back with just 3 HP onto Nubkey. That quad damage up. Yeah, this is a big deal for Carleton as Burnton has taken it out away, but Nubkey does the impossible and steals it back.
And with that steal, Chain secures it. He's got the railgun and the shotgun in his face. But against the quad damage, he is no match, and that means Pithy is going to be able to take that into the future, looking forwards to try and make something happen, but this is still quite a bit more to find for him. He needs more kills. This is timing out. I mean, there's nothing to be done with this quad damage when he can't find a single member.
Yeah, everyone slowed way down around that quad. It was a juggle, but then when it did finally settle, it was not able to really find much to the advantage of App State there. Now Pithy trying to reset onto this one. They've got 2 frags in the lead, but it's only, 4-2 at 3 minutes here on the clock. This game, you got to think every single frag is going to count, because this is a likelihood that we're now going to go to time, the full 15 minutes, right? If it keeps up at this pace.
Absolutely, this pace is a glacier in certain aspects, but the railguns are not. They're trying to land the flicks, missing that one, but Nubkey throws the rocket down the hallway, and Burnton unfortunately has to catch it for his teammate. That means that 5-2 will be our current scoreline. Now 6-2, Carleton starting to crumble under the pressure as App State advance forwards, trying to chase through that slip gate, and they do not manage to convert to the double play. Nubkey is still looking for the rails, and he will not find it. Oh, so close on that.
Just a near miss. The first one went a little wide. The second one almost found its target, but instead allowed Chain to live another day and then find a pretty important kill onto Pithy there now, shoring us back up to just a 3 frag deficit here. And a little more than just as many minutes on the game clock total. So I really want to see this start to pick up from the side of Carleton here, because when they're dictating the pace, they're a team that does very well. They play so suffocatingly that you almost can't get your head above the water. Hello, Chain, with the rocket to find Nubkey. Bringing that one all the closer, but Pithy with the dual wield finds it back.
Yeah, and now he's got the protection. He's able to just walk straight forward. Suicides on Burnton, and that's going to give it over to Carleton. They pick up the protection from the ground, and Burnton, he's actually going to be, maybe not finished off. Pithy chases with the shotgun to get that final frag, and they will continue with a very small kill lead, 8-2. Carleton, maybe they finally started to wake up a bit. The protection definitely buoying their spirits.
Yeah, you definitely have to wonder how much of an oversight that is on the side of App State, giving that one up. He tries with the ability, but it's just not there. Pithy finding that one with the shotgun to keep himself well in the lead, right as, of course, that protection did expire. Now back onto even playing field. See if just back to their old tricks. App State not really wanting to push in too heavily. This does look like potentially a shove in from the bottom room. They want to make sure they get that heavy armor, no problem. Looks like it's just a little bit of a rail duel backed off now. I don't think anyone's walking away with a kill on that.
Yeah, nerves definitely coming through here. Every single time we see, a finals come to the forefront, it's always about who's got the nerves, who's got the style, who's got the railguns landing. And Pithy, he thought he did, but he just can't get the final
1
finish.
HP, are you kidding me? He's just barely gonna get out of that one back alive, up to 100 again. And now it's up against the rail here. We'll see whether he can make that one happen as Chain finds first on to Nubkey. Pithy still low, has to get back up to that 100 somehow.
They're just taking this incredibly slowly, though. I mean, we're talking 6 minutes in, and there are sub 30 frags on the overall score. It's not even one team score. 20 on the dot. I mean, that's just absolutely insane. Nubkey is thrown backwards by the lightning, forced into this mega room. He picks it up, still has health, and they do take out Chain, which means that Burnton is in a 1 versus 2. He gets the first frag. Can he get the second? Does not convert. As Pithy goes down for Chain to pick it up with slip space rupture and the quad damage to boot.
Yeah, now off to the races with this quad. This could be the chance they need to return those 2 frags. They are down. We'll see they find the first one onto Nubkey. 9 of these 12 for Carleton belonging to Chain right now, as he's obviously the score leader for his team. We'll see whether or not he can make the most of this quad. He's waiting on the heavy armor, but that might not be the best idea as this quad continues to tick on down. Not exactly sure what was behind that, but he goes in maybe a little too late. The quad won't help him find the rest of these 2 kills, and he takes a little bit of a bruising for it, having to back on down. We're still at that 2 frag deficit.
Yeah, and this is where Carleton, I think, is going to start to worry, right? They just got the quad. They got a great pair of kills in order to actually secure it in the first place, and then they're not able to convert a single kill off of it. Wait, no, 1 shotgun kill, but that's still a very, very slow pace. They need to be, using their usual suffocating style, and that might be the start. Slipskate, into 2. The rockets from Chain finally find Nubkey, and they get the wipe just to even it up at 7 minutes.
That is the classic flashy Chain style that we know and love, have seen all season. Glad has made its way onto the stage, showing maybe he's not all that nervous. We talked about that people that my eyes are definitely turning to are these secondaries here. Carleton taking the lead. First time in this match. You gotta wonder, you get the feeling Chain's not nervous, you get the feeling Pithy's not nervous on either side of these team captains. You have to wonder then about Burnton and about Nubkey. These two are the big question marks coming into this map, and it seems like they've been keeping their cool thus far, but the pressure only going to continue to rise. We're already over half of our normal time limit. This does go to the full 15 minutes.
Burnton with the rail is able to get one of the kills now in the second. A very close range duel, and Nubkey comes out on top. Double rockets, double the pain, double the pleasure, and he has 18 frags now. Total for his team, has picked up the lead yet again. The Mega is going to be contested alongside that protection. They don't get the Mega, they do get the Prot. And this means App State can play defensive again, right? They've been playing so well at just holding on to small leads, slowing down the game, and then wasting away on the protection side, any power-up really. But it's still playing into their favor.
Yeah, absolutely, with a lead this time, and the clock, such a prevalent part of this discussion. Never gonna feel too bad to just bleed off a little bit more time, especially if you can find key frags like that one when Pithy able to punish Burnton through the slip gate. The Mega for themselves as well, and now they've turned this into what was kind of a swinging back and forth 2-frag lead on either side to an even 4 for the side of App State, and they're gonna make it 5. That's probably the biggest we've seen thus far as Nubkey locks one down onto Chain. I know it's a small score spread in the grand scheme of things, but in this particular game, I think the implications of that are certainly noteworthy.
Yeah, especially at 9 minutes in, when you consider the fact that this is definitely going to go to time. They need every single frag to count. Burnton, he's trying his best to get to 2, but he's still missing out. The rail is going to land, and Nubkey goes down. That is Carleton answering back in a small way. 2 for 1 is going to take a while to get back if they keep trading like that. They need some 2 for 0s. They need to get some clean kills, and so far, every single thing that they have done has come at a price.
Keep in mind, too, this is the neutral map. This is so much of the pressure of this series falling on the shoulders now of whoever takes the win, because it does go to loser's choice after this, keep in mind. So obviously, if the series is to go the distance, you would definitely be playing on your map choice towards the end there, having that comfort. And so it's a discussion of whether or not it's the momentum you want or just the map pick in and of itself. But
or the lightning gun. Burnton still able to keep getting these frags, still able to keep it competitive. Within 2 is always going to be striking distance. They just need to get that quad damage, but they don't find it. Even with the slip gate, he missed it. The rupture is going to be all in Pithy's favor. Trigun plus the quad is enough to secure the kill, and he is going to be able to just hold on to it, waste the time away, and not give a single power-up over.
He is doing his damnedest to put this game on his back. Still just 3 frags in the lead, but look at this, a quad rotation. This is going to be the most potent one yet. 17 of this team's 26 frags belong now to this man, Pithy, on your screen. We'll see whether or not he can continue to build this pressure, build this pace, and in this instance, bail out Nubkey. He finds the rocket first off, but Nubkey says, hey, I can fight my own battles, as he takes out Chain with the lightning.
Yeah, the 1 versus 1 duels are going in their favor as well, right? They have the 2 versus 1s, they have the 1 versus 1s, but do they have the 1 versus 2s? Chain buys just enough time. Burnton has come around the backside, and they pinch in onto Appalachian State. Carleton get themselves a very slight advantage on that kill.
That's the play style you want to see out of Carleton, right?
Yeah, they were always the
speed.
speed, the aggression, the focus was always about Carleton. That's what we've seen all season long. So far, it has been very, very hesitant play, and if Carleton are going to make a change, it either has to come now or later in the series, and you really don't want to give up this neutral.
I will say, much to their credit, this is one of the biggest maps, right? For Appalachian State's playstyle, this is one of the easiest maps to play defensively, to play the long game, and to keep, your opponents running around in circles. As we do get to some of the smaller maps, we'll see whether or not that strategy does hold up. But in the meantime, App State have been making it work. We'll see now with Chain getting right in the face of Nubkey. That's what we're talking about. That's the aggression they want to find. If they can keep that up and make this a game number 1 W for themselves, as he finds a second onto Nubkey and just makes it look easy.
And this is getting really close as the time starts to tick down. 3 minutes remaining. They are less than halfway to their overall kill count, and that means we're going to go to time. So with the 2 members remaining, Chain will be traded out. The 2 for 1 is Appalachian State, and they pick up yet another protection to start pushing on forward. Burnton has not a single chance to take down Pithy. 29 HP. still able to escape with it.
Yeah, now he's just going to be healing right back up, trying to get into the face of his opponent, Burnton, yet again here, 44 HP, and is only falling. But Nubkey does have the bailout for him, gets the rocket on that, and continues to build this lead back up as the time's getting shorter and shorter. It's all the more important, Pithy with a nice rail onto Chain. Secures it just a little bit further, but Burnton answering back as quickly as he could means that this is the last now 2.5 minutes on the clock here. Chain and Burnton finding another key wipe. And we're just down now to 2 frags to find in just as many minutes to prolong this one and go to overtime.
Everyone's down in the bottom room. The heavy armor is not going to get picked up, but it doesn't matter. Burnton with the double. It evens up the score. 2 minutes now remain. There will be 1 quad damage left in this game and no time remaining. Burnton, he drops to Nubkey, and now they start to push on in. Now App State are getting flanked though. Chain, he's behind them. He has the lightning gun, but he's getting completely denied. No chance for him to enter. Do not pass go, do not collect the rail, do not collect the mega. Just go back down to the heavy.
And it's actually surprising to me watching Appalachian State now say, okay, we need to play a little bit more aggressive. We need to match this speed because they just got tied up and they made a rather daring play for what we normally see out of them, and it worked really well to find them that 2 frag lead. Yet again, 90 seconds is what we have left on the clock here. Everyone's healthy. Everyone has the guns, the weapons they want to make this happen. So it's just a matter of execution. This is where those strategies, those pre-prepared moments become so pivotal, but the railgun doesn't connect on the first one. He has to back away.
And with only 12 seconds to quad, I mean, this is actually getting pretty dangerous. If Appalachian State give this over, if they lose the quad, there's such a small kill gap that it could actually end the game. Lightning gun plus the trap. Burnton has taken out Pithy, and the quad has spawned. Nubkey will drop to Chain. The kills are just going absolutely in the favor of Chain and his compadre. They are absolutely in the lead now. With this, they might be able to secure it. Yes. Nubkey goes, and that's 36-35.
This is so big for Chain at this point. They need to continue to pressure this one out, though. Obviously, App State wanting to hold off on that. There's still a good amount of quad time left. This could be the double if he finds it. There's Pithy. Is he going to get Nubkey? The answer is yes. And with 30 seconds left, it's a 3-frag deficit now for App State. They maintain the lead all throughout, but not when it matters. 20 seconds left. How are they going to play this one out?
That has to be finding Burnton, finding Chain, getting the 2 versus 1s. They need it all to work out, but with only 10 seconds remaining, they need to get the team wipe.
I don't see that particularly happening unless they make it happen fast. App State can't find him. Chain just staying low. And with that, I think he's out of this one. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, Carleton University in a massive comeback in the last minute. Put the game right back in their favor and take map number 1.
That is about the closest that we've seen all day long in terms of when the timer goes out and the kill deficit at the end of that 15-minute period. I mean, it was just 2 frags between them all. So now they will be deciding on their map pick, loser's choice, of course, and that means Appalachian State. We're going to look for their redemption map, even the series up at 1-1.
Yeah, you have to wonder, too, what they want to find that momentum back in. I got to think it's something, you know, within the realm of a Blood Covenant. You want something bigger. That seems to be the next logical progression there. And if you're not trying to get bogged down on a small map where...
Hey, maybe Vale.
Vale would be interesting, right? We know these players don't exactly love that map, so that would be throwing a curveball to it. Look at that trophy.
Fantastic. But Vale, Blood Covenant, these are all definitely possibilities. We'll see what comes through as the selected map, though, and that is going to define a lot of how this next one plays out, because as we were seeing, right, all about Ruin, all about that time, right, just the one single quad damage that makes the difference overall. Nothing else had mattered in that entire game. The score was just close, and once it was close, it was always doable.
You can see those 2 gentlemen on your screen there, getting a good shot of Burnton. Looks very focused. Obviously, you can tell they're discussing what went right and what went wrong in that particular match, how they're going to shore it up, change things around, because you got to think, if you're Carleton, who, I know word around the street, a lot of people were saying they're the heavy favorites for this one. Okay, so they take game number 1, they take map number 1, but it's a little too close for comfort, right? If you're in that position, you're going to say, we do not want to let it get that out of control again.
And they didn't have a choice, though, right? It wasn't that they let it get out of control. It was that they just never had the pace, right? They were either, you know, hesitating, or they were just getting completely fragged out. They were getting separated. It was some pretty brilliant play from Pithy and Nubkey. But we're going to make our way onto Awoken for our second map of the series, the redemption story. The arc begins here for Nubkey.
Yeah, this is something that we're definitely curious to see how this one plays out. Both of these teams have played Awoken so well all season long. We'll see if they can continue to bring up the hype here. Nubkey, the player on your screen. Pithy's actual portrait there. That's Pithy we're seeing, the handsome gentleman there next to that. So we'll see whether or not they can continue up this pressure. Have Chain now ready to try to get this one back. It's a 1-for-1. Definitely a quicker opening than we saw last game here. Zeta, they're ready to come out for blood.
2 minutes for the first blood. No, this is all about the speed. We've seen Chain absolutely dominate this map in the past, in the season. This time, I think he is absolutely ready to do so again. He is hopping through with some incredible velocity. Maybe going to find a little bit more purchase with the railgun, but App State so far have stayed out of his sight and out of his rail.
Gotta love watching Chain play this Ranger too, because he's so ready to just go in at a moment's notice with that ability. He tries it just there, you see, but it's not gonna make anything happen just yet. It's a nice escape by the members of App State, and it's traded back actually by Nubkey, who locks down the frag onto Burnton, keeping us just at a 1 spread thus far. Now, seems like Chain was unable to find his way back into that one. Lands a nice rail shot as a parting gift, but shouldn't be too much in terms of the actual implications of how this one is going to play out. They want to find the pinch. He's going to go right on into it, finds Pithy. Can he get the second one here? The answer is yes. Some fancy work with the lightning gun. Means that Nubkey will fall as well. Carleton off to an earlier lead, certainly than we saw on the first map.
And this is all about the small size of the map, right? It's all about them accelerating, just taking the pace to the next level. And we can see right now, 9 frags on the board is much, much better than the last time around. The quad damage is going to get challenged for, and it's all going to be in the favor of Chain. Carleton University going to pick up the first power-up of this map. And Awoken, if it's starting to go this way, is going to be a very quick affair.
Certainly the case. He was ready for that. He made it happen off the rip. The pre-fire, the rocket, not even necessary as Burnton locks down Nubkey. The slip gate, it's a risk to take with that quad damage, but so is taking damage there, and that's a really nice play by App State to bait that one in. Sends him through the slip gate and punishes it for it. Now we'll see whether or not he can make something happen with this quad. Finds Burnton, and that's 3 frags. Still 5 down now. He certainly needs to find a way to make this one back in, and now that they've taken the lead, now that they've used their super aggressive style to punish App State, looks like Carleton are actually just willing to concede a breather here.
We'll see how far they're willing to concede this, in fact, because Chain still has that rupture, and he's going to use it to great effect, able to pick up yet another frag. And 11-5 will be our scoreline going into the 3-minute marker, a fifth of the way into this game. And Chain is not done yet. He's got the lightning gun, the rockets, he's dueling out completely. 1 versus 2. Burnton just throwing rails down over his shoulder, but the lightning gun might be more his style. Instead, he switches back to the rail. The flick goes in the favor of Nubkey, and he gets taken out.
It's either the 3rd or 4th ability kill Chain has had this entire game, and when there's only 13 on the board, that's no small number. He is absolutely happy and ready to get in with that and get out as quickly as possible. Only 3.5 minutes on the clock here, but this game definitely going more the way of Carleton.
Yeah, Carleton, I mean, taking the lead, taking this map, Awoken definitely is more their style, but in the 1 versus 2, Burnton still falls victim to the trap set by App State. That means that this is going to be a little bit harder to challenge. The protection, 12 seconds remaining. Nubkey is gone, removed by the railgun, and now all of a sudden Carleton have priority over the top of this. They're going to have to go in from the separate sides. The pinch will find Burnton. The suicide, though, means that Chain's able to pick up the protection.
Yeah, great play, using the ability to just get right in the face of his opponents there and get this protection locked down. Now, it looks like he needs it because they are absolutely bludgeoning this guy. He has to back out. Be as careful as he possibly can, but got to find a lot more health to be able to really readily challenge these members of App State. So they've at least weathered the storm of this protection pretty well thus far. We'll see whether or not they can make it happen here. 4.5 minutes on the clock. Here's Chain going in. Protection is down, but he's looking to find the 1v2. Doesn't matter. They take him on out. Nubkey gets that kill, but Burnton answers back with Pithy. Now we'll see whether or not Nubkey can finish this, really make it the spread they want in the favor of App State. The answer is no. Burnton locking it down with the lightning gun. means that this lead just keeps building for Carleton.
And this is the kind of map they are absolutely comfortable building leads on. Nubkey teams up with Pithy to actually make the kill onto Burnton, a possibility, a reality in fact, but they're running straight into him yet again. The spawn's not in his favor as he goes down. Nubkey on sub 10 HP somehow slips away into the darkness and is able to reset and read time towards this quad. Maybe they're going to be able to get a priority on it for once.
Speaking of reset, you have to wonder exactly how rattled App State must be right now. Keep in mind, this was their map pick, this loser's choice. This is, you know, the one that they say, okay, this is where we get some momentum back in this series, and to be down 6 frags here at 5.5 minutes, it's a large percentage of the overall frags that we have seen. This is no small deficit the way these games have been playing out. They find the first one to answer it, but now they are on the run. Nubkey only 9 HP, has to find a way to get through this, but Chain locks it down with the railgun, and Burnton a trap onto Pithy. So this just keeps growing, just keeps getting a little bit more nerve-wracking if you are App State.
And now they have to challenge in towards yet another quad damage, but pinched in between Burnton is now Pithy. Nubkey has gone down, but he doesn't even care. Gets the double play by himself and is able to secure the quad damage. Now, he's going to look to try and convert this into quite a few of their kills. He needs to if they want to make it happen, but Chain! 1 versus 2, that's all he needs. He just needs a little bit of an opening, and he will take full advantage of it. Goes through, gets the quad that he missed earlier, and just removes Nubkey from the server. Pithy as well. Double plays across the board. He's taking it all to go.
I don't know what App State expected, but it was certainly not that play. Such guts coming out from Chain, and it worked like a charm. He's actually going to bounce back in. Almost gets popped off with the SD, but does find his way back onto the floor. Does mean Nubkey will clean that one up, but what a play to secure, steal away the quad, and then turn that into 2 or 3 more very important frags with that QD. Love to see that kind of thing coming out from Chain. It's why he's one of, you know, the more highly touted players in this tournament. We talked about his round of 8 performance. We talked about him stacking up next to a lot of these pros here on the stage. Here in the collegiate scene, certainly no different. He's a big fish in a smaller pond.
And the pond right now is getting very, very hot for Appalachian State. They got to get out before they get boiled or turn the temperature back in their favor. If they can cool this down, if they can start getting some frags, getting protections going their way, this will be definitely a map in which they could take it 1 for 1. They have time, right? Halfway in, still 26-19. Time is not of the essence, and they just need to get more frags like that.
And we know, too, App State is a team with aim skill, right? That is one thing they certainly have. As Pithy demonstrates that, a nice fadeaway rocket to Chain to make sure that's not going to be any trouble for himself there. The slower pace, it's been working in their favor. It's been good. These are the individual angles you expect App State to come away with that one as Nubkey locks down Burnton. The answer, though, from Chain is what's so critical so much of the time. 21 of these teams, 29 frags. Chain is an absolute monster.
And so many of those have come from slip space double kills, getting that actual ult into the, you know, the rockets, into the, you know, forced suicides are all paying off for them. So far, Chain, with the protection now, is going to try to extend that lead even further. Heavy has been spawned for quite some time. Nobody wants to get it because if they do, they know Chain's going to be waiting for them just like that. He takes Pithy out of the equation, and it's 31-23 as we go into our 9th minute of play.
You honestly wonder what you got to do if you're App State in this situation. They have the ability to win these aim duels, but look at that Chain just making life so hard for them. He's the one-man army here, and you know, a lot of eyes were on Burnton coming into this one. How's he going to perform? You know, he has a Quake background. It was Quake too, but this is still honestly some of the biggest circumstance he's played under. Honestly, doesn't matter the way Chain is playing, right? He's just got this entire Carleton University roster on his back right now, and is more than making up for his teammate. And that's not to say Burnton's incompetent, right?
He is just fragging out. He's got those skills, got the rails, and has gotten flanks on so many members of App State, right? The flanks have been working out perfectly for them. We see Lightnings just crossing beams every single time they start to try to challenge towards one of these objectives. And I think that's the real skills, right? It's about Burnton, Chain setting up the crossfire, getting that, and making it work for them in order to kill just an infinitely larger amount of App State, right?
Game sense, definitely knowing when to pick and place your fights is so integral in Quake. It's just in this game's DNA. I know the 2v2 format, hey, Quake Champions, it's changing some things up for a lot of these well-established players, but that aspect has
that
not
will never
changed.
change.
Right. It's just hard-coded into what this game is and always will be.
7 seconds now, though. The quad damage is going to be the next point of contention. Appalachian State have already lost one member, though, and they're going to maybe lose a second, but Pithy, with the quad damage, can he actually convert this one? Yes, the shotgun will start the rampage, but he needs more. He needs some more frags in order to make that actually work out, right? They still need to make up 9 kills in the next 4 minutes.
Yeah, it's definitely a tall order the way these games have been going. You think with Carleton here, we'd see some more 50 score lines, right? I mean, they're a team that just loves to find the blood. This time, still on the table for them, right? They can find those 13 frags in 4.5 minutes here. Fairly easily. App State have a lot longer of a road to walk. We'll see whether or not it's anything that they are up to the challenge of, because if not, it's going to their second and possibly final map pick.
Yeah, this would be the time, this would be the place to come back to make it the 1-for-1, right? If you get an even scoreline, especially with your map pick, you need to convert those. The neutral, if that doesn't go your way, it has to be the second one. This could be the start of the comeback, though. They get a great team wipe. The 2 frags for basically free mean that App State might actually have a chance at answering Carleton and maybe even straight winning this.
We certainly know they have the capability. It's just whether or not they can continue to replicate those moments of brilliance that they have found thus far. It looks like the answer not going to be the case, as Double Lightning does strike down Pithy. Now Chain in a duel with Nubkey locks it down easily. That's his 30th frag of the round, 40 on the team overall. So if there was any doubt as to who the all-star of Carleton University is, Chain just running a clinic this time around. We'll see whether or not now they can get in. Nubkey's trying, but Pithy's already dead. Chain used the ability, and that means he may be able to find this one out. Burton, though, with the shotgun, does put that one to ground. And we'll see now whether or not he finds himself on the receiving end of 2 very angry opponents from App State. But with that, we're going to go to a listen-in with Carleton to see exactly how these comms are breaking down.
That was a sick fucking rail, dude.
Going mega.
Protection spawned. Your team has the protection.
They're banana. They're both banana. Good shit.
And with that, a certainly colorful listen-in coming from the guys of Carleton University. But what I do like is that they're still jovial enough with one another. They're not too panicked. They're not too paced out. They know that this game is in their favor, and they're executing on it well.
And with that execution, we're talking about it. Shane is making it rain. He has so many kills this match, 47, just 3 more to find, while 19 would be needed in the same 2.5-minute period from Appalachian State. They do have the fragging power, but at this point, maybe Awoken is a bit too far gone. The railgun, Shane sees it, he wants a piece of it, but he doesn't want it without getting that armor first. Gonna pick up the heavies and then pick up Pithy to boot. Maybe the 2-man frags, and Burton secures it. That means that they just need 1 more kill to secure map number 2 and a 2-0 lead.
This is certainly going to break it down right here, right now. They're not leaving without the blood they came for, but the SD does mean that 2 back now. That's not exactly what they want out of that situation. Burton does make it back up as he finds Pithy. Now, yet again, only 1 more frag to find, and it seems all but hopeless for App State as Carleton are just sharks circling in the water right now. This is not going to be a good play for App State. They do need to start thinking about what their next, possibly final map pick is going to be as they put it to bed with the rocket launcher. That's 2-0 now up for Carleton University.
And what a dominating map number 2. It wasn't even their pick, and they still took it so convincingly.
Yes, certainly the case. And we talked about them being comfortable on Awoken, but it seems there that App State really just played into their hands, and that was not exactly the greatest way to go about maybe the early map pick. Now, you think the strategies of this, it's loser's pick, right? So if you do lose the neutral map, are you picking your best and brightest map, or are you picking your backup first, right?
Yeah, and the first map really matters a lot, because if you lose your first loser's map pick, right, and you've saved something for later, maybe, just maybe, you can start the comeback. You can just find some of that energy and actually run it for a full, reverse sweep. But that has to be the case. You have to get the full reverse sweep at this point into it.
You can see Burton looking calm, cool, and collected, ready to just play this one out. The trophy across your screen. Of course, they are playing for that $25,000, but that trophy, a lot of glory on that too. That is going to get their names etched into it whomever wins. So certainly a lot of pressure mounting as on the stage. You can hear the crowd, they're getting excited. The people are into this, and it's got to be a little shaky if you're not used to playing on stage.
I mean, at least if they're playing on stage, they got themselves some fantastic monitors to play with, right? They got a little bit of a shout out. Thank you very much to Alienware for supporting QuakeCon 2018, giving us these 240 hertz monitors. It's a fantastic way to actually play some games, and especially when you're talking about sick freaking rails. That is the thing to see it on.
Paraphrasing, yeah. Certainly the case, and they've made it look so easy just by comparison. I'm sure the monitor playing a lot into that, but now turning their attention towards the next map, it looks like we do have the pick, and it's blood, 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 ladies and gentlemen. They are looking for it this time around.
Talking about sharks in the water, they smell the blood, and they're going to try to convert onto it. The last map pick of App State. This one, I think, is going to be a little bit more dicey, right? If you talk about just the way that these slipgates are used, right? We've seen so many times App State, a very smart, very coordinated two-man roster, uses those excellently. But will they get shut down like they did in Awoken, right? They just never got a single thing going. They need that. And Shane, if he drops early, maybe that's the time to make the plays, right? Pithy, with the two hype lightning guns, is still able to find kills.
Yeah, he's made this look almost easy. Didn't get it with the rail that time around, but it is a nice opener for those initial two frags as he drops the totem as well. This is a map that we've seen a lot of App State play throughout the year. So actually, we were talking a little earlier, do you go in with your best map for your first lost pick, or do you do it second up? Seems like second up was definitely what they were thinking there. This is the last resort. This is where their backs are against the wall, but they played a fantastic opener in these first 60 seconds to find themselves a lead. Now they're caught in a little bit of an issue playing, down to up. You don't want that?
Yeah, bottom up is not what you want to be playing when you're on a map like this. If you get trapped down there, if you don't have, even time, right, to get the rail peaks going, I mean, that's really, really hard to play against. But what else is hard to play against is when Pithy is just able to win aim duel after aim duel. I think he's won 3 or 4 1 versus 1 so far in this map. And he's just going to keep on rolling. Nubkey chimes in as well, and they're going to go straight into a 1 versus 2. But Chain, he's got that slipgate, and you don't want to mess with him when he has the abilities up.
Back to his old tricks. He just does it every single time it's available, and it almost always works, right? We've seen it fail once or twice, but the payout of each one of those is so brilliant from him that I can't imagine that he would have any reason not to just use it on cooldown.
Absolutely, and this could be the last map. It is Carleton trying to make sure that they can secure it here. Chain with the quad damage is going to be a big part of that run back. He's looking for 3 frags at minimum. First one on the rail, a great flick from him, and he's going to spot up with the slipgate up to the top. He's going to grab another kill, the rocket. He hears somebody. I don't know if he actually heard them. A little bit of a quick turnaround there from whatever App State player was lurking directly behind him, and with the timeout, at least, he has closed this to a 2-frag gap. Pithy finding Burnton in the last waning seconds of that quad.
Yeah, and actually great play by App State once they figured out just how decimating that quad was about to be to play it a little bit slower, but it still was big oversight to give up that much in the first place. So they do barely hold on to this lead, but it's a 2v1 push now coming up. Chain landed a nice rocket right to the face and follows it up with a beautiful rail shot. Locks down Nubkey to bring us back to a tied game just here at 3 minutes.
And this is why he's so dangerous, right? It's just the raw aim, the great flicks, everything has come together, and he's been displaying that all day long. Why should it change now, right? This is the Chain that we came to see, and he's certainly delivering.
They want to make it a 3-0. They do not want to give App State even the slightest chance of getting back into this game, but Pithy, he's a man with other plans. Both of them titled Lightning Gun right in the face of his opponents, locks him down, brings it back up 2. Now he's just trying to support Nubkey in this fight. Nubkey wisely hopping back on over. They should have the 2v1, even with just the flank push here coming out now of, I believe that is Burnton. They're trying to lock down. We'll see whether or not, yes, they do find him. Did some damage, but either way, that was a great recognition and then capitalization on the split by the side of App State.
And then you have Chain just finding solo frags, doing Chain things as it were. Nubkey is able to lock him down with a lightning gun, actually. Denied his chase onto his partner. Pithy gets saved right there, and they do have time now and the space to get towards this protection. It has been picked up by Nubkey, and he will go for the 2 plays. Pithy converts to Burnton, and they are able to widen their lead. Another 5 frags separating these teams now, but this is a much earlier scoreline, right? 4 minutes in to have 14-9 means that this game is going to get extremely violent.
Well, let's go, Nubkey. He picks up 2 of those kills that we're talking about. Violence does find that. The protection slowly wearing off. Likely not going to be used in any more, but you talk about a power-up making a difference in a game. This one brought them now to a 7 frag lead, and that's big for App State. We did see it get clawed back in the first map when they found themselves that type of lead, but we'll see if they can hold on to it in this one. Of course, it is their map pick. Cannot reiterate that enough. Chain cannot use those rockets enough as he gets himself yet another double down. Can he find this one? The suicide says no. And Nubkey with 13 HP has to play this one carefully. It's the old bait and switch. He drops Pithy in his face instead. Now Nubkey trying to survive. Chain smelled that one a mile away.
Yeah, and Pithy is able to hunt down Burnton on the other side, so this still is not actually closing the gap. Carleton trailed by quite a few frags going into the 3rd of our game marker, right? 5 minutes in, they have 15 total to play for. Will it go all the way? Nubkey certainly had his health go all the way down to 0 as Chain picks that one up, and they will continue to pursue. The shotguns don't find their mark though, and he's able to slip into the darkness. Pithy saved by Nubkey a little bit, but also saved by Chain.
Chain here doing his damnedest at this point. Now Nubkey having to back on down through things. Has to be careful the way he does play this one out. Get that health back up. Get to the support of his teammate Pithy there, and maybe get this heavy. Locks that one down pretty cleanly with the try shot, locking that one through. Pithy getting the kill onto Chain. Quad damage now, the focus of all of these players. It's only 5 seconds away. Priority is here now from App State. Looks like they're gonna get it for sure. And it's only a matter of who they want to give it over to. Nubkey says, you take it, Pithy, I insist. And he will have no qualms.
Carleton certainly do have a couple with this, though. If they start to get fragged out by the quad damage, this could turn into a very, very quick game. Carleton are trailing by 10 kills at this point. The quad damage has only found a single one of those, but it's still being taken away from them. When they don't have the quad, they can't actually make that ground back up, and that means that they have to play defensive as well when they don't have the quad. It means that they have no chance of answering back for these frags, because if they did, they would always get traded out for that quad damage. A good rail, but it's just not enough to finish off the kill.
It's an excellent point you brought up too there, that you always want to be making the most of that quad. Yes, it is at least an opportunity cost. It isn't denying it to your opposing team, but that only really matters if you have a lead, which App State does. Pithy with this lightning gun on this map, favoring it so much, means that that lead will stretch to 11, one of the biggest leads we've seen thus far within this series. And we'll see if they can continue to stretch it, or if Burnton and Chain in these individual aim duels can maybe start chipping back away.
Yeah, the 1 versus 1s were definitely what they had found last map. This one, much more of a 2 versus 1 scenario. So much of the time have we seen 2 App State players, 1 Carleton player, and then it's always going to be the same way, right? The same exact execution. It's they both fire at once and they get the kills every single time, converting that into a sizable lead with the repetition.
It's a tried and true strategy, but if it ain't broke, don't fix it. It now puts the onus of adaptation onto the shoulders of their opponents and makes that an ever-pressing challenge. 25 frags on the board, just over 7.5 minutes means the game is, for all intents and purposes, more than halfway over at this point. We'll see now whether or not the Part 2 comeback can be established, because Carleton, if you think back to map number 1, there on the ruins of Sarnath, really only made their fantastic comeback in the last 90 seconds.
Yeah, but that was also only a 5 frag comeback. They have nearly 10 to make up at this moment, and it's going to be a little bit more dangerous. Oh, dropping the protection, but he's not able to secure it. Burnton goes down before he can even he just didn't even pick it up, right? The pockets weren't deep enough. This time, Pithy and Nubkey both win the solo aim duels as well, and it means App State is going to have a very significant lead going into this later half.
The play around securing these objectives has been so good from App State, right? They've not lost, to the best of my recollection here, a power-up yet. They've made them all come into their back pocket, and something that they can then use to turn this one on its head. A 12 frag lead is the result of that kind of play, so it's working really well. They're making these massive, big climbs when they get the power-ups, and you know, finding the even trades or getting the 1-for-2s in the interim. It's impressive play to see. You can tell that they have definitely rehearsed this map time and time again.
Yeah, and it is paying off in spades to get a map back, to answer it back when you're on series point is obviously a fantastic thing. Shows the mental resilience that they have going into this. Carleton now in a very rough spot though. 6 minutes to play, and they have to make up 13 kills. That's a +2 for every single minute. It doesn't sound like a lot, but it's really hard when Pithy's playing this well.
Especially considering that doesn't account for trades in any capacity. Nubkey has to back away from this one. It was the aggressive play yet again out of Chain, but he did find a chance to back it on off. Did not stay in his face, and instead the retreat worked pretty well this time. Now Chain finding an early kill onto Pithy. Nubkey answers it back. We'll see if he can get the entrance here. It's 20 seconds till the quad damage, but it's never too early to start that preparation.
Especially when you see both the guys of Carleton are completely on the wrong side of the map for this. Of course, you can traverse it very, very quickly, but they don't have the setup. And if they try to run into these rockets, they will meet a very untimely, very messy end. So far, though, Chain, he thinks the lightning gun is the way to go, gets the first kill, and hops over for the quad damage in the second one, converts onto Nubkey. Now with 12 kills to find, he has to make this quad super impactful. So far, he's only gotten 1 kill, and he's very low. Picks up Pithy on the backside, and now we'll try to get another one, third of his rampage, but 10 to find. I mean, there's no way he could do this in 1 quad.
Not with 1 quad, but it may be the start of finding some of these back. You gotta hope if you are Chain in this situation. Pithy takes down Burnton though, and I gotta say, App State were willing to challenge. Most of those frags that we saw come out from Chain's quad were because App State said, no, we're getting back into this room, we're killing you, and we're taking that quad away. Obviously it didn't work out that way, but they learned their lesson the first time. Once they got back on the respawn, they scattered to the winds, found an actually nice free kill onto Burnton, and have preserved their lead pretty well.
Burnton is behind though, and Chain is up top. He wins the aim duel. Nubkey goes down, and Pithy below catches him after he frags out Chain. 38 to 28 with 4 minutes remaining. They have just a little bit more to find. This will be the time. Carleton, if they lose map number 3, they get a pick though. And remember, there are still quite a few maps left in the pool, things that might not be so orthodox, right? We talked about that Vale. If it comes out, neither team is very composed on it, but who would dislike it more?
Yeah, I mean, that does raise an interesting question, especially when you do keep in mind just that we've seen 2 maps now. They've been App State's map pick. Even if they win this game, the rest of the series is Carleton's map pick, right?
Absolutely, and this could be the start of the rest of the series. Talking about that, we see another 2 frags, and this, what seemed like an insurmountable 12-kill lead, is now down to 8, and that is doable in 3 minutes, but it will require some very precise use of these power-ups, and now the challenge comes in. App State have made themselves known, and the force is a force to be reckoned with. Pithy and Nubkey will secure yet another power-up and probably lock down this map.
Carleton knew they had to challenge it. They just didn't know the best way to do so, and it was punished very quickly and very effectively from the side of App State. It's almost a callback to the last way we just saw it when Carleton punished the early entrance from App State to begin with around that quad damage. So either way, no slipgate likely, but Pithy runs through it anyway. He's just going to leave Chain for Nubkey to clean up here. He's happy to do so. Now Burnton locked into this one, nowhere to go in a tight corridor with the rockets up, and it's just the alley-oop. He does dunk that one back on down. Now Pithy loses the quad, but the protection, but doesn't matter. He's going to scrape through this one. 50 HP, 100 armor on the refresh, so he's feeling pretty good about that.
Yeah, and at 43, I mean, we're talking about a very, very convincing map number 3, right? After a time when they lost their map pick, they were able to come back and just get frag after frag to win it out. And with 17 to make up, what was an 8-kill lead is now almost insurmountable.
I think that's certainly the case, especially when you keep in mind there's only 6 more to find on App State, and within 2 minutes, give or take, that's very easy to make happen. That's just 3 short frags a minute. This is the definition of mental fortitude coming out from these guys to get, you know, such a heartbreaking loss in the first map and then bopped pretty good on your second map choice. It shows a lot of, you know, guts and a never say die attitude out of App State.
And this will be the closeout, so we will look to see if Nubkey and Pithy can close it out soon. Relatively cleanly. Hope that will be the case as they do almost find Chain. He hops out of there. Burnton instead is the one that will be sacrificed this time around. Chain goes down as well. One frag left to find, and they will make this a 2-1 scoreline still. Map and match point, but they need this in order to stay alive.
You can say that again, the last 60 seconds, it's all but a formality, even with a God Quad run out of the likes of Carleton. I don't foresee this one happening. Chain does lock it down anyway. He says we're still gonna give it a shot. Nubkey trying to play this one carefully, maybe get the good old cheese kill out of this one, but that is based off of the aggression that they have to find coming out of Chain.
He doesn't
there
know
it is! They find it. Yes, what a cheeky play. Quad damage. That one would have worked great at any point in this series, but they knew that Carleton had to push them, and they set it up, knocked it down, and bringing us now 2-1, still favoring Carleton.
Yeah, and now it's going to be, of course, Carleton's map pick. We've still got Blood Covenant, we've got Corrupted Keep, and we've got Vale left on the table. Whatever they decide to go with will be more than likely a smaller map, and more than likely something that they are very comfortable on.
I'm thinking it's Corrupted Keep, right? You want the small map, but you maybe don't want Vale. Blood Covenant, I feel, plays too well into the strengths of App State. Now, you might look at it at Carleton and say, hey, you know what? We don't care. We're better. We're not scared, and a bigger map's not really a challenge that we're, gonna back down from. But I think just process of elimination.
I just want the Vale. That's all I want. I want to see the Vale. I want to see the top down. I want to see the window jumps, the fantastic window jumps, in order to make some of that excellent speed happen. But we shall see what they actually decide to go with as their map pick.
Yeah, I mean, we know that they both love playing Rocket and Rail Heavy. Of course, that's the bread and butter of Quake. And so you got to think, okay, what did we just lose to? Well, it was a lot of lightning out of Pithy, right? You give him that tracing ability, and he's going to, make lemonade out of that for sure. So you got to think, what map then is conducive to that style of play? Either way, we are getting a fourth map, a little bit more Quake than maybe some people would have predicted here.
I mean, not to undersell either of these teams, though, right? They both came into this. I think the only map total that was dropped between these two teams, there was one map in the entirety of our season dropped between both of these teams put together, and that was one map dropped by the side of Appalachian State. They were 18-1 going into this. So it's not to say that they're a slouch of a team or anything. They are fantastic. But this is their first and second map loss. That's 18-3 now. Make it 19-3.
Right, and you got to keep in mind, too, if strength of schedule, anything, well, hey, Mr. Zeta, I do have to give you the credit here. You want it, you got it, and you called it in some sense. It is the Vale. They have decided the small map now coming out ready to rock and roll. Nubkey suiciding for the -1 scoreline off the rip.
And that is quickly equalized by his teammate, but equalizing a -1 is not really what you want to be doing at the very start of the map. Vale is, of course, a very unorthodox map in how it is played and the extreme verticality of it. But we shall see how much of the window comes into play. We shall see how much the Keel comes into play, because this, I think, is one of the most fantastic picks on this map.
Yeah, Keel really great at zoning off these hallways. That's one of the best uses of this champion on this particular map, and it really works just with the way he's able to keep you from pushing him and dictate the routes that you are able to take when fighting against them. But otherwise, unchanged means they will not have the Galena in their corner here. We'll see whether or not the adaptation can come out now. Chain still on the tried and true Ranger. He's not changed this entire series. He has no plans to do so, as the Rocket does find the first one to jump in for the second, and that's Pithy going down as well. Carleton taking the early lead.
There's no reason to change. As you said earlier, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. The Ranger ultimate has gotten him so many frags throughout these maps that I think he'd be almost a fool to swap off of it, right? It is very, very crucial to his playstyle, to the aggression that Carleton continues to bring. But now, Appalachian State finally have a lead on this map. They force the Keel back down, and up into a shotgun goes Burnton. Down his health bar goes as well. Carleton has gotten themselves finally tied again, but Vale is a very back and forth map. We should see a lot of swings on this one and a lot of lightning gun to boot.
And if those swings come from anywhere, right, it's got to be those power-ups that we've been seeing.
12 seconds.
Yes, certainly on the last map, making the most of those, but you got to think Chain and Burnton ready for this QD. It's spawning in just 5 seconds. They already have the priority over it. The initial rockets are coming in, but, with this Keel, how much can they zone off? The answer,
not enough.
Yeah.
They just absolutely have to give it over. The priority has gone in favor of Carleton, and with the quad damage now, Chain looks to try and finalize a lead to actually get something concrete that they can play off of, that they can make into a further part of this game. The lightning gun, Nubkey goes down instantly as he pops through the slipgate, and they will convert for an 8-5 lead. The quad damage is not done yet, and they will get yet another kill. Nubkey goes down to Chain, a double kill for him.
Now with 4 frags down, 2.5 minutes on the clock. This is certainly the pace that we're so used to seeing out of Carleton University. They need to keep it up. This is where they do their best work, is just by suffocating out their opponents. But Burnton has to back off of that one. Nubkey's ready to push in, and look at that. Speaking of champion changes, Nubkey is opted for the Ranger this time around. No one wanting to play the Galena on this particular map, so instead it's a Blazkowicz and it's a Ranger versus the Keel and Ranger combo. We'll see which one does prove to be the more effective duo on this map.
Keel, of course, we talked about the zoning potential. That is often the substitute for the Galena when you see it played on Vale. And Shane, talking about no substitutes, we will accept none, because I can't believe it's not Shane. He is off the hook right now with his fragging potential and just absolutely racking up the kills for Carleton. Great rockets to boot, and he's gonna get yet another one with the help of Burnton.
He's giving out tickets all aboard the Chain train of pain. He is making this one happen this time around. Burnton, no slouch either in this game. They're doubling their opponent's score just like that.
I mean, we're talking 2 minutes ago, an even scoreline not favoring them. Appalachian State up just 2 frags. Now it is 9 kills separating them. The gulf has widened, and they will continue to do so if given the chance. They don't know where anyone's coming from. Pithy goes down. Nubkey shortly thereafter should fall as well, but he backs off of the rockets, missing his opportunity to get in on that one, and instead the protection will be secured. But it's not on Burnton, it's on Chain. Will they fall victim to his plan?
See, definitely just keeping that power up out of the hands of App State is a big deal to these 2 particular players. I gotta say, I gotta give a lot of credit. That's another kill as well for Burnton there. The frags have just been coming out from this guy. He's playing that champion very well, showing a very deep understanding of exactly how to. And you have to wonder if the only reason Nubkey's not playing it is because he doesn't necessarily know how.
Chain has gotten 1, Chain has gotten 2. A great flick from the actual rail means that he can convert for the double kill. But this time around, I mean, Carleton, we talk about a map that goes in their favor. Vale certainly is it. Once you get this rolling, it seems like there is absolutely no way to stop them. The second time around, he does actually manage to pick up the Mega. And this time, Nubkey is the one that's going to get the red armor. His heavy is going to be, ticked down brilliantly, but 10 HP is all that he needs to escape, slip away into the distance until Burnton electrocutes him. The shocking discovery is that Appalachian State have nowhere to run from Carleton.
And 14 frags to find. It's still 10 minutes of time to do so, but the clock just keeps ticking up anyway, and Carleton are just racking up kills on this scoreboard. It's a nice answer back by Nubkey, but they have a lot of work cut out for them. There's that keel damage, and Chain just knocks it on down. Double rockets means that one brings another 2 back into the court of Carleton University here. And this, if you're App State, is where the nerves just have to be settling in.
Yeah, they absolutely are completely nervous of Chain, and they are scared to boot. The double kills, the double plays, the double score for Chain. This is why he is so good at this game. He is absolutely a force to be reckoned with in the collegiate scene, in the pro scene as well, but especially when you talk about this. The CSL scene is absolutely terrified of him.
With that, the quad damage is actually picked up back and away by Nubkey. We start talking about, how do you make the impossible possible? This is the first
start.
Foundation of that, but very wisely, Carleton are not playing into their hands. They've already burned off half of this QD without a single frag going down. This is going to be the first one. Nubkey does find that, but can he find the second? Yes, Burnton does go down, so prolonging what little hope there is now for App State. They're going to try to make the most of this one. They're never going to give up, of course, not until that last second or last frag does come through. But it's a long road ahead of them at this point. 11 frags in this game.
This is going to be, they have answered back quite a few kills, right? It was 30 to 18 or 30 to 12 at one point. They just had so many kills in the lead, but Chain going down to the, psyched up double shotguns is actually a bad thing to see, right? It means that for the guys who are fans of Carleton, Appalachian State, could still be in this. There hasn't been a single kill from Carleton in forever until we saw that railgun. Finally, Burnton makes himself known, and Shane gets himself a frag as well. The lightning guns, the fire in his eyes is definitely visible as Burnton is finally starting to pick up speed.
He has that $25,000 and that trophy in his sights. He knows there are just 17 frags separating him and all of the glory of a win in the inaugural Collegiate Quake season. This has got to be something, a lot of pressure building up around it, but at this point, what can they do? They've sped up their play style, and it seems to be working okay. Carleton have caught on at this point. Chain really punishing, says, okay, you want some speed duels? I'll show you exactly what you're signing up for. And he's made a point of it thus far. Just finds Nubkey as well. Pithy locks down Chain in a nice rail shot and just keeps us at about a 10 frag deficit. Doable, but not easy.
Definitely a lot more doable than that 12 to 15 that we were looking at previously. This time around, Burnton still is denied from the protection, but with Pithy's suicide, he might have taken Shane out, but he didn't secure the other member of Carleton. That is Burnton. He has 21 HP. He will go down, and Nubkey actually doesn't pick it up. Shane will be securing that protection to boot. He is able to stay alive for now, looking for a little bit of help. He will escape into the darkness, and this time on the Vale, everyone is starting to sweat. This is match point for Carleton. If they win this, they will go home with it all, and they have the lead to do it.
Another suicide out of Pithy. We talked about some of the nerves. Those are the jitters you just cannot have at this point. Only makes it further away now. I want to take a second, just while we have some time to breathe, to talk about Burnton, right? This is a guy where in this particular series, nothing about him has looked so outstanding, and you raise the questions, okay, you know, is that just because Chain is so good and, you know, other people pale in comparison? This map, Burnton has been a rock star.
Absolutely. The Keel has made so much possible for them, but so has the Ranger and Pithy. He doesn't want to be another number on that leaderboard. Nubkey instead has 5 HP, 1 HP ticking down. Burnton is traded for the shotgun kill. This means that he's going to have to look for some of this health or else become a very easy frag for Carleton.
Yeah, wondering now if that Galena maybe missing that just a little bit, but doesn't matter. Chain finds 2 with the rockets. Burnton was the bait, and Chain came in to lock it on through, so ready to pull that one off. They seem to be absolutely in control of the pace of this game, despite the fact App State are still trying to speed things up, still trying to get in the faces of their opponents. Chain and Burnton, undaunted, locked down yet another 2 frags to bring them to only 9 to find in these last 5 minutes.
I mean, they're inviting them, they're giving them their faces, they're just challenging every single frag with a body blow. They are really checking them at a full force. I mean, Burnton right now facing forward every single play is just absolutely non-stop action. Chain showing us exactly why he's so good. 44 to 27, 6 frags to find versus the 13 that App State, sorry, 22 that App State need in order to make this even. But maybe they can make the comeback. It would take a monumental effort and this quad damage plus every other power-up to boot.
We're talking a Mighty Ducks miracle at this point, Zayda. We'll see whether or not it's in the cards. Pithy does find the first one out of that one. Nubkey, the remainder of that quad damage is going to expire, so that is the timer on it. We'll see whether or not now Nubkey wants to continue pushing this with 4 HP. The answer is no, but he didn't even have a chance to back out. The positioning punished so heavily by Chain there with the shotgun. Of all things means just 4 frags to find and just as many minutes left on the clock here.
And you've got to think, at this point around, it has to be Carleton all the way to the bottom. This acceleration, though, Chain gets in his face again and makes that power-up play happen, but Pithy's there to trade it back, 33 to 47.
He's happy to use that raw speed to make a 1-for-1 trade, right? Trading at this point 1-for-1.
Even 1 for 2.
Yep,
it's fantastic.
Brings Carleton right to that $25,000 in scholarship money, right to that trophy. It's only 2 more frags to find. Make it
that one.
As Chain is on the warpath here. He's trying to lock it down. He got the heavy armor. He knows the slipgate play is coming.
One more
and he's not fooled. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, Carleton University, the Ravens, they lock it on down. Chain and Burnton in a 3-1 fashion take the inaugural collegiate season by storm.
You'd expect them to be happier, you know, they just won $25,000.
It, you know, takes some time. Everyone shows it a little differently. I'm sure they're still shaking off some of those nerves, especially after that close game, the handshakes, the hugs. These guys know each other. They were scrim partners for a long time throughout this season, actually, so no strangers across that stage. But Carleton University, the ones that set themselves apart at the end, taking the glory for themselves. And with that, we welcome you back, ladies and gentlemen. Little post-game analysis on this one, Mr. Machiavelli. We saw some crazy plays out of this chain, guys. Somebody that you've been watching, you know, a little bit throughout the round of 8. Were you expecting that close of a series from, you know, the likes of App State in the maps where they did do well, or was this pretty well expected? Yeah, that's the blowout.
Well, you know, because I wasn't too familiar with the two college guys outside of, you know, Pithy and Chain, who I'm obviously very familiar with. They're in the competitive North American scene. They're around quite often in pug games and SAC, so I knew what to expect out of them. So I was more concerned with seeing how their teammates would play off of them, and really, you know, again, with team play, there's a lot of communication involved, how you're going to listen, and of course, there's the Chain versus Pithy matchup, but it wasn't all about that. I saw Nubkey hit some nice mid-air rockets, same with Burton, really showing that they got some stuff in Quake. If I'm going to be perfectly honest and like objective about where I saw the match going, Old man Machiavelli knew the result after watching the first map.
Okay, bold words after the first map. It's a pretty close one, all things considered, right?
Absolutely. You know, that first map, you see that, you know, spirit break in Machiavelli. He knows exactly what it's like to be on the other end of that. He takes advantage and he wins the game. So just like that, Carleton did exactly the same.
I got it. It's just little things you see as an experienced Quake player. I've been around a little while, as people know. You just kind of see things, you know, in terms of the way the game's breaking down and the decisions that are going on. And I just felt they had the stronger team overall. They did a good job. They took a map, though, in Pithy, and they made it interesting. I kind of raised an eyebrow when they took a map off of them. I was like, okay, they're not going away easy. Let's see if they can actually force it to a 5th game. But they came up a little short, and you know, Chain and Burton got the job done. So props to them for getting it done on the main stage. But I think they all have a reason to, you know, hang their heads high and be happy. They both get a little, all four, just to say both, but all four get a little bit of money here for college, which I think is very important. I'm glad the College League was able to do this for some young players. And as you mentioned earlier, we didn't have this back in my day, and I'm very glad it's there because to get a little sentimental, you know, many years ago when we all did this was the dream. We were hoping it would grow. I knew it would never be there for me. I was too, you know, the beginning of something like that. But I knew in the future that it could grow into something, and I'm really glad to see the young players today taking advantage of that.
That's a wonderful perspective, and we thank you for sharing it. Now we're going to toss it over to a winner's interview to get a little bit of their perspective, right, on just what that $25,000 means to them in the Quake scene. So Ketchup is standing by on stage with an interview with the victorious Carleton University.
Cheers, guys. I'm joined by Chain and Burton. First of all, congratulations. The champions, go on, guys. I hear a bit of an applause. By all means, give the guys some respect. Now, Chain. So clearly there's a bunch of people in this crowd that are happy for your victory. One thing I've actually been dying to ask you, obviously this is not the first tournament we've seen you in today. You were able to make top 8 in the Quake 2v2 Open. Gameplay-wise, the players in the scene, how does the gameplay here kind of compare between the CSL and something like the Quake 2v2 Open?
I'd have to say the biggest difference would be like game knowledge and kind of decision making. Like Nubkey and Pithy, they both have, like, actually Pithy has great knowledge as well, but like Nubkey surprised me, like definitely has like good aim for sure. I think if he kept playing, he could definitely surprise some people. Like, definitely has the potential. In terms of throughout the season, like, we mostly played like brand new players most of the time. So, brand new players against pros, I don't know, you make the distinction, I guess.
I'd definitely say that there would be sort of benefits to the whole thing, right? If there's pros involved, obviously such as yourself, it's going to give all of the upcoming players that experience that they need. You know, going into the Quake Champions is a very, very young game. This is only its 2nd year at Quakecon, where we have the grand finals of the 2v2 Open up next. But I mean, $25,000, man, towards education. What does that mean for the two of you? I'll start with you, and obviously we'll move forward.
I don't know, to be honest. There's a lot of money, especially like the opportunity came out of nowhere. Like, I had no idea that CSL was going to be a thing. So definitely props to them for putting it together. really happy they did, and I don't know.
What were you, Bunsen? Anything else to add on to the end of it?
No, not really.
Sometimes the best thing to do is to say nothing at all. Ladies and gentlemen, these are our champions. This is your trophy, and by all means, go nuts.